I thought about coming home to an empty room. I wasn't ready for that. I felt like it wasn't fair because he was a good kid. He was just going to go have a good time. And something so careless took that from my child. Kobe is a character. Kobe did not take things serious. Everything was a joke with him, but he had this smile that it melted all your worries and fears, but he was your typical teenage boy. It was never a dull moment with Kobe. Never is a dull moment with Kobe. I got a phone call at about 9 that night from my little cousin saying that the kids were in an accident. And at that time, she said it wasn't serious. And then maybe like 10 minutes later, my aunt called and said that they were going to take him to the hospital because they were saying they were hurting. And then a couple minutes after that, she told me to hurry up and get there because they were going to airlift Kobe to the hospital because he said he couldn't feel anything. And by the time I got out there, it was serious.
I just like being outside, really. It don't matter what I was doing, I just like being outside.
Some of Kobe's favorite things are video games, watching YouTube, spending time with his friends as much as possible. His relationship with his friends was very important to him. His little brother is very important to him. Just enjoying life is what Kobe was. He's always been adventurous. He wasn't scared of life. He wasn't scared to do anything. He doesn't care what people think about him or say about him. And that I admire that a lot about him. He was going to be your regular teenager that day, going to go have fun with his cousins.
We had film for football that Saturday. Okay. Film and recovery, and then after that I went to my grandparents' house. I picked up my cousin so we could go down to the trailer fields. That was like, we got done like around like 9:30, 9. I was driving like an old truck, like a super old bucket. I was basically already there. Like I was just slowing down to make the turn. I only know that we got hit. And then I remember rolling, like the truck was rolling over. And then I got pulled out of the truck, but after that, I don't remember what happened.
They were taking him to the level 1 trauma at OU. And when we got there, it was more serious than what we thought. His lung had collapsed. They had to crack him in the field because he stopped breathing. And they had to take him into surgery to correct the trach. And once they took him into surgery and they came back and got us, that's when they said that he was gone. And that's when the chaplain said, talk to him. They can hear you. And so we talked to him, and he was still hooked up on machines, and the machine he was on was working his heart for him. And then when it came down to the less than about an hour, once the medicine was out, the nurse was like, it's time to say your final goodbyes to him. And I remember touching him. He was very, very cold. And I told him, I said, Kobe, mommy loves you. And he shook his head. And then when I told the nurse, she was stating that it was the end, like the ending process, his nerves and, were reacting. And then she said, Kobe, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand. But by then, they had told us that he was paralyzed from the neck down. So there's no way he could squeeze your hand. So my mom was like, Kobe, Granny loves you. And he shook his head. And so the nurse said, Kobe, if you can hear me, stick your tongue out. And that's when he stuck his tongue out. She went to go get the doctors and said, the kid that we were coding on is taking commands. And so they rushed back in and hooked them back up to the machines. And they had to perform surgery on his neck because his injury was a C5 through C7, which controls a lot of the nerves. So they had to do spine surgery on him within that week.
I was just confused, honestly. Yeah, they always told me a lot of stuff, but I was just confused. It was like a lot of big words. I didn't know what it really meant. Like I all started processing it like as I was leaving the hospital to go to rehab, and that's when it like hit.
When I seen him take command, I knew there was a God, and I knew He worked miracles. But that day, I got to witness a miracle.